Early in my career as a psychiatric nurse, I worked at a residential mental health facility. Among our residents was a man unlike any other. His name was Marion Duchesne, not his real name. And he was an elective mute. He didn't, wouldn't, or couldn't speak. There was no medical explanation for his silence. But that wasn't the strangest thing about him. Marion was nearly 7 feet tall, raised in the Deep South, and had lived a seemingly normal life until he didn't. At 19, he joined the military, but one night he disappeared without a trace. Declared AWOL, then missing, then dead. 10 years later, a man covered in dust walked into a VA hospital emergency room in the Midwest. He wore the same clothes he'd last been seen in. He had no identification. His social security number had never been used in the years he'd been gone. And yet, he approached the receptionist and said the only words anyone would ever hear from him. "My name is Marion Duchesne, and I've been dead for 10 years. That was the last time he spoke. Fingerprints confirmed his identity, but his family refused to acknowledge him. To them, their loved one had died a decade ago, and whoever this man was, he wasn't Marion. They wanted nothing to do with him. At the facility, Marion spent his days pacing. He moved his mouth as if speaking, but no sound ever came. And then there was the laughter, the silent, eerie laughter. Every so often, he'd throw his head back, mouth wide open, eyes crinkled in mirth, but not even a breath escaped. It was as if he were laughing at some unseen joke that only he could hear. Medication did nothing. Therapy had no effect. He would grin at me when I spoke to him, occasionally throwing his head back in that soundless mirth, but he never reacted otherwise. If not told to stay put, he would simply get up and start pacing again. On my last day at that job, I stepped outside and saw him one final time. Marion, drifting through the parking lot, mouth open in silent laughter. Even now, years later, I wonder, had I spent all that time caring for a man who had truly come back from the dead, or had I been tending to a ghost? I still don't know.